Okay, so I think that we are going to go ahead and just get started. A few people still might join on, which is great, but for now we'll just get started with a little bit of welcome and housekeeping, as you guys can see. So my name is Melissa George. I am a research assistant with the Georgia CTSA, and we will be answering questions today surrounding the Community Grant Writing Academy. And so any questions anybody might have before the RFAs do. So just to start, we'll be doing going over a lot of things today, but if you have any questions that come up as we're going over anything, feel free to put it in the chat, and then we'll have questions at the end, a time for questions at the end that haven't been answered yet. And then also a recording of this will be available on the Georgia chat. It is not available right now, of course, and so it will be available tomorrow. Can everyone hear me? Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. So yeah. So I'm just gonna hand it over to Dr. Akintobi. She's gonna get us started with an introduction and an overview of Georgia CTSA and the community engagement function and a little bit of what we do.
Thank you so much, Melissa, and welcome everyone to this call. So I am going to share my screen. Okay. Let me know if you can see that screen. Is that something on the Georgia CTSA? Is it a PowerPoint or is it an email? PowerPoint? Yes, wonderful.
PowerPoint.
Great, wonderful. So first I want to say thank you for making the time to learn more about this funding opportunity. So I am the director of the community engagement function for the Georgia CTSA, but this work is a collaborative partnered effort. So you can see on this slide that the Georgia Clinical and Translational Science Alliance is designed to bring together the strengths of academic partners that are funded by the National Institutes of Health. So you see Emory, Morehouse School of Medicine, where I am, Georgia Tech, University of Georgia. We work together to bring together our complementary strengths to accelerate clinical and translational research. And we do that through education, research, and community engagement. And this funding mechanism is actually sponsored through the community engagement function. So before I talk a little bit more and briefly about what the Georgia CTSA is, particularly the community engagement function, I'd like to invite the co-directors who are on the phone to just say a word or two, because likely if you are funded, you will be meeting us later. And even if you're not, we have a number of opportunities that are open to the public and are designed to really position and engage community leaders as senior partners in creating interventions, projects, initiatives that are responsive to what is needed where they live and lead. So I will start by who I see first among my squares, Dr. Allison Penn. Can you say just a quick word of welcome, please?
Good afternoon. This is Allison Penn. I'm the Associate Dean for Extension and Outreach with the College of Family and Consumer Sciences, representing UGA Extension. And we have, I'm one part of a larger system, which is the county extension offices and faculty and staff that are on the UGA campus. And we have 159 county offices, one in each county. That is a rich network of resources that connect you to a larger body of research, academics, and community support.
Thank you so much, Dr. Penn. I don't see Dr. Elliott on, but Dr. Elliott is the co-director. Oh, she is.
Yeah.
I may not see you, but you're on.
Okay. Then.
Especially when I'm sharing my.
It's my name in that black box. That's where I am.
Oh, Dr. Elliott, please do say a word about where you live, lead, and your role with the CE.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I am Dr. Rowena Elliott, Associate Professor of Nursing and the Program Director for our traditional Bachelor of Science in Nursing program at Emory. I am one of the project directors for the CE program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Elliott.
Thank you.
Dr. Anand, are you on representing Georgia Tech? So you will get to engage again, whether you are funded as a part of this opportunity or not. You will meet some of the players, because what's unique about this funding opportunity is that we will fund organizations to participate and have protected time, and also for accountability to get support in reviewing an actual grant that you're working on. But the unique thing about it is that it is also going to be open to the public. That means that we will have other slots for folks that may not have gotten funding to be a part of it, but can still take advantage of the opportunity. So however you engage, we hope that you will participate. So there are a number of other members of our team that you're actually going to be hearing from. So I will ask them to introduce themselves, and they represent the administrative core and supports of the CE, leadership and community engagement, as well as through UGA and Morehouse School of Medicine. So those other folks on the agenda, you will get to meet, you'll get to hear from. They're a part of all of what makes us collaboratively work together to make the Georgia CTSA CE strong. So the Georgia CTSA trains the next generation of clinical investigators and workforce. And that's not just traditional education and clinical practice or research, but the community engagement program actually developed a course on community engagement and clinical research. And for that course, all of the students across these programs learn from faculty, but equally as important, they learn and hear from community leaders, many like yourselves, on exactly what it takes to effectively engage in with communities in research, clinical practice, anything that's designed to make communities stronger. And so we translate lab discoveries into treatments for patients. And so that's generally what the CTSA does, but specific to the CE, through engaging community health workers and community leaders, they are those that help us to translate research in ways that really are more meaningful to the broader public. And then certainly community engagement, which we think is critical if we're trying to reduce health disparities, advance health equity. Communities and patient groups must be at the center of all of these approaches. So you can see some of the partners, not just the 4 schools, but many other entities. And then there are cores of the Georgia CTSA. The community engagement core is one. And you can certainly go to georgiactsa.org. We'll put that website in the chat as well. Anything you wanted to know or needed to know about the Georgia CTSA is there. There are many resources and opportunities for engagement beyond this funding opportunity that you can avail yourself of. Conferences, opportunities to network, collaborate. There's a lot of information there, and I invite you to take advantage of that. So our focus in terms of community engagement broadly through the Georgia CTSA is rural populations, pediatric, underserved populations, and those and older adults. So that's not exhaustive. But when we think about underserved and health disparity populations, they may be defined by race and ethnicity, but they can also be defined by geography. Specifically in rural communities versus urban. We know there are different realities and access issues for those groups, but many other layers of identity that may result in people being underserved in healthcare or in research. And of course, in the era of the pandemic, there's so many other layers of identity that can make people socially or medically vulnerable. And as those realities evolve, the Community Engagement Corps and the Georgia CTSA really wants to be at the forefront of bridging and facilitating partnerships to be able to be responsive to those issues. So one of the things that this funding opportunity and capacity building opportunity does, it actually brings together both the second and third bullet on this slide. We have traditionally funded over the past 10 years over $400,000 to community and academic partners to either conduct community led research, other health initiatives, other communication and dissemination opportunities. But the other thing that we've always done is we have capacity building workshops that are designed for both academic folks to learn how to engage communities better, and also for community partners to know what it takes to engage effectively. And we have many different workshops, and Gail may talk a little bit about some of that when she shares her comments. But we found that grant writing is a chronic need and priority on both sides. And so in different ways over the years, we've provided grant writing workshops. But one of the challenges is that sometimes people come and they may know that they need to write a grant, but they may not necessarily have an actual grant that they are working on. And so we thought, and we've done this a couple of years ago, with the blend of having funding that allows for protected time for people to step away and engage, and also to get support with an actual grant where we can provide feedback along the way over a longer period of time. We can award kind of mini grants that really are focused on building that capacity in grant writing. And so that's what this funding opportunity allows us to do. And through that, we actually do that fourth bullet as well. We provide assistance for community engaged research, because often when you're writing a grant, you're thinking about or trying to conceptualize what that research or health initiative might be. And we are here as a state resource to be able to support and guide you in that process, both for this grant, but also for other partnerships that you're seeking to develop. One thing that is the wraparound and governance structure for all of the community engagement function is a community-led steering board. So this board is led by a majority of members that are not a part of any of those 4 academic institutions at the bottom of the screen. So most of the members are not at Emory, Morehouse, Georgia Tech, or University of Georgia. They are community leaders, or they are a part of social service agencies that either represent the community or serve the community. And a part of that is to create accountability and flip that script from the doctor, clinical doctor, or the researcher knowing what is best. Community engagement requires that community voices are not just a token 1 or 2 at the table, but really are in positions to govern our work such that it is meaningful, relevant, and can be sustained. So we want to advance the art and science of community engaged research. Certainly many of us who went to school learned a bit about it, but even if we did, the reality is when you get out there in any type of relationship, there is an art, a practice, and like any relationship, it requires an investment of time, intention, as well as trust that make it work. And so we are trying to promote those values. Community engagement should not just be about recruiting patients for clinical trials or vaccines, as is the case during this time. It really is about relationships and trust towards improving population health, particularly in our state. So we have forums that we can talk with you about later. In fact, you might choose to mark your calendar. March the 31st to April 2nd, 2021 is our forum. And that's where folks in practice, research, public health, and the clinical spaces all come together to talk about the importance of and the promotion of community engagement across the state of Georgia. And just to close, we try and increase the capacities